Birdman, attorney at
Worst South trip ever taken. Worst South trip ever taken.
Welcome back. Jokey Pants has bad taste. I am Jokey Pants. No, the Emu will not be joining us for this episode. He decided he didn't want to do another one. He hated that I made him do the one that I did, when I had promised he would be doing a longer episode. We can't all get what we want. Also, if you want the Emu to have a name, I originally had one. I forgot it.
Oh, God.
I forgot what the name was, and I tried digging around in my notes and my messages with the guys, and I couldn't for the life of me find what the I named that emu. So, for you the fans, anyone who watches this, if you have a name you'd like the emu to be called, I don't really care what it is. You can go ahead and name it. You can put it in the comments here. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Leave it in the comments. Follow us on X at OddcastN. You could, send it to us there. You could send it to us oddcastmedia@gmail.com. I don't care. Oh, by the way, I'll say it right off in the beginning. You want all these episodes early? Like, these are all recorded literally the same month, and they're all just releasing. I'm getting ahead with these. If you want to see them all before they come out, including my main show, which is What an Oddcast, we post all the episodes early on patreon.com/oddcastn. And fun fact, just $1, $1, you can get early access to everything, and we have more stuff we're doing with it. We're just really focusing on getting up our episodes early so you guys can have all the content early. Pretty sure I still have stickers and things. I'm still editing those, so there will be things there that change, but just $1, you can get all the shit early. You can get a month's worth, even more than a month's worth by the time this comes out. You can get all the content there. And there's bonuses that we have going up there. There's a ton of stuff we're doing, so just go check it out. And you can even do a 7-day free trial for $1. If you really don't want to pay $1, just do a 7-day free trial and see how you feel about it. You can literally listen to everything super early. And then when it does come out, you can be like, I heard this months ago. You guys are behind. And be like the smart guy or whatever. I don't know what you people do. So Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. It was a series. It was an early Adult Swim series. Because back in I'd say late 60s to the early 80s, you had a ton of cartoons that were coming out from Hanna-Barbera. You had things even before that even. We covered over Tom and Jerry way back with What an Oddcast. And that was something that came out in the 40s. So Hanna-Barbera had been a big thing when it came to cartoons. Marvel, good old Marvel Comics, around this time in that 60s to 80s era, people were selling comic rights. We're gonna take a side tangent here to explain this stuff. So bear with me. But comic writers were given really no direction on who held the rights to what character. Basically, it was the Wild West at that time of if you drew or wrote a story or just illustrated a comic book, you basically had rights to the character that you did that stuff for, and nobody was really on top of who actually owned what. So that's why in this late 60s to the early 80s, you had a ton of Marvel cartoons that came out, right? You had Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, you had a Fantastic Four, there was X-Men in the 90s, but before that, there was Fantastic Four, there was a couple Spider-Men that they did, there was stuff like that they were just doing, and it was because writers of the comics and illustrators, whatever, they just kind of had rights to that character, and were just selling them to whoever wanted it, because basically, it would be the studio comes up to you and they go, hey, you drew a Spider-Man comic a couple months ago, right? And they're like, yeah. How about we use that character for a cartoon? Do you have any contract or anything? Fun fact, there wasn't. So a lot of them were just like, well, I own partial rights to it. Sure, use it for this. it kind of leads us into why the MCU had so many issues and still run into issues with characters, is because there's just so many rights that people gave away because no one was paying attention in the early days. Having rights to a character wasn't really a fucking thing that anyone paid attention to. Fun! But because of this, Hanna-Barbera wanted to get in on that market. So you got like Space Ghost, Harvey Birdman here, and there's a couple other ones. There's a couple other cartoons that they put out that we've talked about on our main show many a time, and we even did a cartoon bracket. Fun fact, another fun fact. Isn't that fun? We're getting tons of fun facts. How many times can I say fun? Kill me. So anyway, we did a cartoon bracket, and we're going to be doing that again. We're kind of working out how we want to go about redoing the cartoon bracket. But Hanna-Barbera had a lot of shit, and they started dipping into that superhero realm. So you got Space Ghost and Harvey Birdman out of that. That's your backstory. Long, it was 5 minutes in, and it took me that long to get to that point, right? I'm stupid. I don't know why anybody watches. Like, comment, subscribe. In this time, they kind of did their thing. They disappear. Adult Swim comes around in, that late 90s and 2000, and you get Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which was a talk show that used Space Ghost, who was an old Hanna-Barbera, their superhero attempts, and they did their own thing with it. And Space Ghost, it exploded. People absolutely loved it because it was a talk show that had its own thing going on. And there were characters from Hanna-Barbera that some people remembered seeing somewhere, and some people remembered the cartoon. Other people were just like, this is a very fun, very oddball show, because you had Space Ghost, the cartoon character, who would have real people come on the show, and they would record ahead of time their interview, and it was a whole thing. It's still a pretty fun watch. You can go back and watch it. I think maybe, I don't know, Cartoon Network and WB are kind of a piece of shit and have just kind of started deleting everything, which, I want to just take a moment. I know we're already talking about the episode and I'm taking side tangents, but fuck you, it's my show. So I just want to say, fuck WB and Cartoon Network, because they're slowly erasing everything that had come before that made them the network they are, shall we say? Right? Because, when I was growing up, if you're a 90s kid, then Cartoon in that late 90s going into the 2000s that Cartoon Network did, and also Adult Swim came at this time, that's what made Cartoon Network popular. No one gave a shit about Cartoon Network until you got Cartoon, where we got things like Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, you ended up getting Codename Kids Next Door, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ed, Ed and Eddie. And then after that, we got Adult Swim, which did this with Space Ghost and Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. We finally got there. I got there. But Harvey was another one of those superhero attempts, and this show became a spin-off from Space Ghost. I fucking love Harvey Birdman. It ran from 2000 to 2007, and then it kind of abruptly ended because in the 2007-ish is where Adult Swim kind of started just canceling fucking everything that they had and replacing them with other things. Because I'm also a huge Metalocalypse fan, and that was another one that got the axe. Literally, Harvey Birdman got the axe, Metalocalypse got the axe. It was all the shit that we had all, loved about Adult Swim, that they all just started getting canceled. And, I mean, you got Rick and Morty later, which is still a fun show, but it's still the principle. One of the only original shows that Adult Swim still had running, and I possibly still has running. I haven't seen anything from it in a while. I just recently saw they're doing a special, so good to know they're still alive. But Robot Chicken, they were another early Adult Swim show that is honestly the only early Adult Swim show that hasn't been fucking canceled out. And it's really fucking annoying that everything else got canceled. Sorry, it pisses me off to no fucking end. Anyway, so Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, I love the show. It's Harvey is exactly as the namesake of the show. He's an attorney. They still reference everything. He's still the Hanna-Barbera wannabe superhero that he was in Hanna-Barbera, but now he's trying to be an attorney. And every case is something different. It's always a different Hanna-Barbera property that has some random bullshit go on. One of the early episodes is Scooby-Doo, And it's literally just about that Shaggy and Scooby got busted with weed, and Harvey has to, like, be their defense. Or you even have you also had Secret Squirrel, and Secret Squirrels was that he was caught flashing people because he was opening his coat, and he had, like, there's a whole fucking, this show's so off the walls, and I love it so much. And they're also, for anyone who's curious about it, they're only, like, maybe 15 minutes long. Like, they were very short segment episodes, but they were so fucking good. Or the Fred Flintstone they did Fred Flintstone as the Sopranos, which was also just hilarious because they open it with the Sopranos, but Fred Flintstone, so it's yabba dabba doo y'all. It's fucking hilarious. I love the show. I didn't know that there was a game based on that show that I've loved for so many years until recently. So I bought it, and I popped it into my PS2. And I said, you know what? I played the Jackass game. I played Celebrity Deathmatch. It can't be any worse than those. It's not, actually. It's actually, if you're a fan of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, the game would be right up your alley. You are literally playing unaired episodes of Harvey Birdman. Like, it's just, that's all it is. There's other games like it now that everybody would know that do the same exact thing that this is doing, but it's all just Harvey. So, like, a lot of the time, the answers in solving a case don't make sense, but that's because it's Harvey Birdman, and nothing in that show ever made sense to, like, oh, okay, like, no, it was always some random bullshit going on, and that's exactly what this game does. You're literally just playing episodes of the show, questioning everybody, trying to figure out, put together and piece together what's going on, which it's basically just that Harvey's house got blown up, like his apartment, and he's trying to figure out who blew up his fucking apartment. So that's how the game starts, and it really, that's all you need to know. You're just playing the show. There's nothing else special about it. It's not running around as Harvey and trying to fight crime. No, you're literally just playing the fucking show. It's such an easy game to explain and cover over. And that's why I talked about a lot of other things to fill out the episode, because it's a very cut, dry, straightforward game. Now let's get into what some of the things that drive me absolutely fucking nuts with it, because you know I'm gonna do it, because it came out in the early 2000s, and it's based off a popular entity. And if Jackass the Game and Celebrity Deathmatch have taught us anything so far on this show, it wasn't made the best, but I will say that this one put itself together better than both of those other games. This one at least knew what it was and did very well to be that. Really, the only bad thing I can truly say about this game is you're going to want to walk through of how the fuck to progress, because there's plenty of times where you're going through the dialogue and you're supposed to pick out things that it'll give you, like, it'll show the subtitles on screen in, like, a box, as you can see. As I said, you'll see gameplay as I'm going here, but, like, you'll have that box of text and you have to try to take the evidence that you found in your briefcase and match it to something they said to, like, disprove what they said and get the answers you're looking for. But here's the thing. Unlike other games that have done this nowadays, and they've taken the same exact gameplay concept and they do it better, and I say they do it better because they'll give you better ways to be able to place things together, whereas this, I had to rely on a walkthrough to get gameplay footage for this, to do this episode, or even if I wanted to play it. Because sometimes you'll get all the way to the end of the dialogue thing and it'll stop, meaning that you have to try to piece together that they're lying and pick out your evidence. Fun fact, sometimes it's on a dialogue box that's 3 boxes behind where you currently are talking, and it doesn't really give you any idea that you have to go back a couple boxes to pick out a dialogue. And you only get a couple chances. You only get like 3 chances to get it right before you have to completely restart the chapter. That's right. There's not progress saving that you solved something. Once you start the conversation with someone and you have to prove something, if you fail, you are restarting that entire sequence over again. So if it took you 15 minutes to get through the conversation and you've already used like 5 different pieces of evidence and you're finally at the end, but you're on your last life and you fuck up, boy, get ready to do that 15, 20 minutes all over again, and you better remember exactly where those were so you don't waste all your lives again. That's really the only thing that really makes me mad, because I had to literally look a walkthrough, because there was a point I went fucking insane for like a good hour, where I was like, this is what she's referencing to. I literally have the item that she's talking about. Why is it telling me that's wrong? I failed like 5 times. That this is what she's referencing to. And then I go to a walkthrough, and it's like, oh no, you have to go back 3 dialogue boxes, and it's like 2 lines down. This is what will let you do that to progress. And I went, it's so Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law show-wise. Even the gameplay does exactly what the show would do. But here's the thing, that becomes a problem in a game like this. Because how the fuck are you gonna know to go back 3 dialogue boxes for this specific item that's not even in a mention to what the fuck you have to click on? It could be like you have a tube of toothpaste and they talk about, oh, well, I had to go buy a new tube this morning. Mine was all gone. And you'd be like, oh, well, this half-empty tube of toothpaste was at the crime scene. I object. This is what you were actually talking about. And it'll fail you. And you'll be like, what the fuck? And then it turns out you have to go back like 3 dialogue boxes to when they talked about that they made a ham sandwich and it tasted weird. And then that comes into play. And then it progresses. And you're like, I mean, I guess so, but like, she literally talked about that item. Why the fuck is that not the... I don't understand. So really, that is really my only gripe, is just the little things like that. But overall, it's an okay game. If you enjoyed Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law, the show, the game, you're literally just playing episodes. So if you enjoyed that, I'd suggest picking this up. Again, I would say 100% get a walkthrough online, because you're going to hit your head against a wall on some of these. It is what it is. I give it, I don't know, we haven't really been giving ratings to anything else, but like, this one's better than the other 2 that were based on something, and there's plenty of other games I want to cover and talk about, but I have to find copies of that are going to be in the same vein here. But yeah, that's Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law. I love the show. Again, I'm a huge fan of the show. I even watched the half-hour special they put out in 2018 that was like a definitive ending to Harvey Birdman, but it kind of followed the same thing anyway, so whatever. I enjoyed that. I don't enjoy Harvey, the Bird Girl. I tried getting into Bird Girl, couldn't do it. It's not because it's a girl. I hear the people in the comments be like, it's because it's female-led, you're sexist. No, I don't like it. It doesn't have the same tone and feel that Harvey Birdman does. And just as a side note, and for ending out this episode, you've probably already clicked off, but if you haven't, thank you. I just want to say, the cast in the show is fucking great. You have Gary Cole, who most people probably only know him from Talladega Nights, as Ricky Bobby's father. If you ain't first, you're last. That guy voices Harvey, and he's fucking great. A+ on him being Harvey. I could never see that character and not hear him. And his boss, Phil, is voiced by Stephen Colbert. So of all people, Stephen Colbert, early on in his career, before he was really doing his own talk show, was doing fucking Harvey Birdman's boss. So go on, I would say go check the show out. If you like the show and you have a PS2, or maybe you could even find it emulated. I don't know. I didn't do it emulated. I literally own the physical copy. But if you like the show, I'd say play the game, and you'll more than likely enjoy that too. I haven't finished it. I'm making the episode before even finishing it because there's not much for me to try to cover over with it, but I enjoy it a lot. So go check that out. I give it like a 7 out of 10. It has its frustrating moments, but it's still better than Jackass and 7 million times better than anything Celebrity Deathmatch did. God. But until next time, stay odd, stay happy. Just remember that sometimes nostalgia lies, and other times you can find a little nugget that you didn't even know existed. Goodbye, everyone.
Oh, yeah. I guess I could. But I won't!
One question. There was something found on 2 pieces of evidence that wasn't explained at trial, and that was... peanut oil, both on the nutsack and on the coffee cup. How did that happen?
It's not a nutsack if it don't have nuts in it.
Nutsack! Ha ha! Finally getting that.
And the coffee cup with peanut oil?
Yeah, that was mine. And that wasn't oil. Although it was a peanut derivative.